Farming correctly is very simple, and yet many players go about it incorrectly and end up falling behind the rest of their team and the enemy in gold. To make matters worse, once they've fallen behind, they don't understand that they're pretty much irrelevant for the rest of the game. They become an easy-to-kill target, yet they play as if everything is fine, inevitably causing their team more issues and making a win impossible. Nobody is perfect in every single game, so sometimes you will fall behind. But don't worry, in this video we will explain what to do if this ever happens to you. But first, we'll start with how to avoid falling behind. Let's go over the right way to play and farm gold for each role. The first tip is simple and universal. You probably already know this, but we can't make a video about gold without mentioning last hitting. When killing minions, you get gold for simply attacking them. However, you'll get a lot more gold if you specifically do the last hit on them. Learn to time your attacks, ensuring you get the last hits and not your friendly minions. It sounds simple, but it takes time to master doing it consistently. With that out of the way, let's get into the real fun. Jungle. Goal: 8,000 to 10,000 gold in 10 minutes. We're going to assume you already know your basic route and responsibilities. If not, we have the perfect video waiting for you. But there are key mistakes players often make that allow them to fall behind. 1. Early depth. Too many jungle players get overly aggressive towards plays that are hardly worth the risk. Really, you should only be taking large risks for objectives, key shutdowns, and team fights. It's a popular strategy to try and steal a buff from the enemy jungle right at the start of the game, and it sure feels good when it works. However, you usually need great map awareness, the right hero, and your team's support for this to work out. If you go about this recklessly, you're just giving the enemy jungler a free kill, extra gold, and the ability to bully you more once you've respawned and go for your own buffs. I wouldn't say don't try this strategy, but if you're playing solo queue and you are not a high-level player, at least reconsider. Another common mistake that leads to deaths in the early game is being overly aggressive on gank attempts. If you're trying to gank, you need to have some kind of advantage, and I mean beyond being level 4. Consider the enemy's positioning. Are they in a position where you are likely to succeed and escape? Is backup likely on the way to clean you up even if you get a kill? Players often look to kill but don't think about what happens next. Rarely should you misplay a gank early game and die. Either succeed or do damage and escape with your life. Don't stick around and give away your life for free. Let the kills come to you. Especially if you are a low rank, you really shouldn't have to try too hard for eliminations. They should come to you from enemy mistakes. Let's talk about when the enemy jungler is fed. Fed meaning they got a lot of early eliminations from your team being not so great. This is annoying and even rage-inducing. But it is not over for you just because the other team's jungler was fed. Continue to be right on time for your monster camp respawns to lessen the odds of them being stolen. Focus on finding good ganking opportunities. Beyond that, avoid them. Don't get into a one-on-one with them. You will probably lose. If there is an opportunity to counter gank or catch them off guard with the help of your team, then do that. You will want to shut them down, but timing is important. Focus on doing the right things instead of getting an early death, trying to battle a fed enemy. Fortunately for you, early game deaths are not the worst due to the fast respawn time. Against a good enemy though, every second alive is important. After the early game, you'll want to always be doing something. You should always be getting gold as efficiently as possible. When you're able to do so safely, steal the enemy team's jungle camps as well. This makes it harder for the enemy jungler to keep up with you and your team. After the first 4 minutes, remember to put more priority on clearing minion waves than clearing your own camps. Buffs aside, you always need those. Mid and late game, these minion waves provide more gold than camps. Do these things right, and your gold will be good. Even if you're not getting kills, you will still be one of the top people in the game in total currency. I've had games where I couldn't get kills early on, but I kept my gold up, and when the time came for opportunities, I was able to shine. If you fall behind, no matter what easy opportunities come, you won't be able to capitalize. The enemy will overpower you like this. Other basic tips. Early game, get the river sprites. Their value is roughly equal to that of a buff, and steal these spawns from the enemy when they are available. This one may be a bit controversial, but if you're playing solo queue or simply need to carry, do not secure dragon spawns alone. The time spent to eliminate one could be better spent stealing enemy camps or clearing lanes. Only if you have nothing else to do or you have help do you spend your time hacking away at a dragon. We are talking about mid to late game here. Early game, the first spawn can be pretty quickly cut down by yourself. Every second matters. There are 9 other players in the game, and pieces on the board are always moving. Make the best plays with your limited time. As a jungle player, your team relies on you heavily. Keeping your gold high is the foundation of trying to meet expectations. Fall behind and your presence will not be felt. Middle lane. Goal 6,000 to 8,000 gold in 10 minutes. Alright, so playing in the middle lane is a lot simpler. Again, this is not a full guide on how to play each role. We're focusing on keeping your gold up so that you are able to compete properly. Start the game by clearing the first wave of minions. After that, while waiting for the second wave, you'll want to attempt to take these camps from the enemy jungler. You don't need to succeed in stealing it. But even simply causing issues for the enemy jungler and retreating is a solid play. After the outcome of that attempt, you'll want to clear your second wave and then make your way to support either the top or bottom lane, usually the farm lane. This is very important. If you stay in the middle for the entire laning phase, you are hurting your team and are likely falling behind in gold, unless the enemy middle player is just feeding you free kills. You need that extra gold from participating, getting kills, or assists. Ideally, choose to help in lanes that have minions in the middle or on the side of the enemy because they are likely to appear there soon, making for a good kill opportunity. While you're there, also help kill minions and get gold that way as well. The rest of the laning phase is simple. Keep rotating between the middle and wherever needs help. Be sure to get the river sprites too. If you're clearing your middle lane, getting river sprites and helping your team by assisting or killing, you'll be in a good position with your gold. Now let's talk about common mistakes that lead to early game deaths for middle lane players. Firstly, you need to be aware that any decent player will generally know what your thoughts and routes will likely be. Know this and be cautious. Anybody with map awareness will see you helping the farm lane and know that you are going to rotate back to the middle, so don't just go back casually. Unless you verify the position of the enemy jungle and middle lane player, move with caution. I've made players rage in chat by killing them 2 times in a row just by waiting for them to rotate back to the middle. Do not let that be you. Next, when clearing your middle lane, do not just stand in the middle of the lane. Again, unless you verify where the enemy jungle and middle players are. If you don't have your flash, that is an instant death. Any decent jungle player will just pounce on you and thank you for the free kill. If you don't know the enemy position, finish the minions as they're closer to your tower. Otherwise, at least stand further on the side the jungle player would have a harder time killing you from, like this. Beyond that, during the laning phase, limit your time spent warping home. If you need to go home, at least make sure you've cleared your current middle lane wave. That way, you're not missing gold by being gone. If you're not dying early game but teleporting home constantly, that time wasted will add up. It'll be as if you did die. After the laning phase, of course continue to not die by being careful about your positioning, and as much as possible, participate in team fights to ensure that you're getting gold from assists and kills. Continue to clear lanes as well. Do these things, and even if you're not filling the scoreboard with kills, you will be in a decent position to make big plays. Let's talk about the Clash lane. Goal 5,000 to 7,000 gold. Playing the Clash lane is a lot of fun when you know what you're doing. You feel unkillable and like a force to be reckoned with. To start the game, there are a couple of important things to point out. Firstly, a lot of you die in your first fight with the enemy Clash lane player. Why? Because you overestimate your skills and underestimate the difference in levels. Pay more attention to who gets level 2 first in your initial clash. If the enemy player gets level 2 before you by a decent amount of time, this is not a fight you want to take on. Back off. Play passively until your levels are closer, or you get help from your jungler. This will help you avoid pointless deaths that set your gold back and help the enemy. Beyond that, throughout the laning phase, be sure to get these spawns. They're not so important that you should die for them, of course, but make an effort to secure them and do not let the enemy take that gold. Early game, every bit of gold matters. This next tip separates the good Clash players from the great ones. Once you reach level 4, you need to start roaming once you've cleared enemy minions. Why? You'll be able to help earlier in fights that secure you gold from assists and kills. Additionally, you'll pick up gold from other lanes while helping apply pressure on enemy towers. Roaming early game is not for every Clash lane hero, but for the ones with decent mobility, you should definitely try this out. Your team will appreciate the help pushing towers. Beyond that, throughout the rest of the game, just help in team fights as much as possible. Again, depending on your hero, it may be best to spend a lot of time pushing lanes solo, but generally, you want to be in these fights, getting gold from kills and assists. Don't think that just because you play Clash that your gold will be low. You can sit at the top or near it in gold while playing this role. Let's talk about the farm lane. Goal 9,000 to 10,000 gold in 10 minutes. With this role, you should always be number 1 or number 2 in gold. You're the primary damage dealer, and so with that, you need gold to develop and have your hits do real damage. For starters, you need to know whether or not your hero choice is strong in the early game, or if they're the type that needs to snowball and carry late game. The reason is, if you're up against a character that is strong in the early game and you're not, you should be playing more carefully. Make a mistake here and you will rack up early game deaths, fall behind, and end up chasing for the rest of the game. Besides that, early game, you need to be sure to get these spawns. And watch out for ganks. If you've played enough games, you should know by now the middle lane player and jungle will come to gank you. Pay attention to the map and learn timing. If the enemy middle laner just cleared their wave and has decent health, they're likely considering coming down to you. Just confirm the enemy jungle was on the opposite side of the map? Well, once they're finished there, in a few moments, they'll be on your side looking for a gank opportunity. Grow to develop thoughts like these. Predict what the enemy will do instead of simply reacting. Your priorities for farming are your wave, monster camps on your side, and the enemies, followed by mid lane minions. Rotate like this. Farm all game. It's easy to slip up, get caught in constant team fights, and forget to farm. But that rotation we just covered is for the whole game. Lastly, on the topic of the farm lane, this should go without saying, but if you play this role, put a lot of attention on positioning. This will save you from plenty of pointless deaths. Don't stand in the middle of the team fight. Don't get caught by an assassin by standing on the top or bottom alone. A full farm lane guide will come in the future, but for now, ironing out these details should save deaths and get some extra gold in your pocket. Up next, the roaming role. Up until now, we have listed goals for gold in each role. But truthfully, gold is not a priority for this role. Let's not make this more complicated than it needs to be. Your job is to support the team. You don't aim to get gold. You work to help your team get gold. Doing this will involve sacrificing yourself, taking hits to protect your team's carry for the greater goal of victory. Mistakenly make gold a priority and the results will not be good. What we can say though is that for a greater chance of overall success, choose a hero that either complements your team or counters the enemy. It's easy to find a hero you like and run with it forever, but that is not ideal for this team-based game. We'll be sure to make a full guide on this role soon, but for now, let's get into the next section. How to come back. Playing from behind isn't easy, especially when your jungles are being invaded and your team is pushed all the way back to your high ground towers. At this point, you feel like prey and are often one mistake away from losing. Don't worry though, we have tips to help you turn around these impossible scenarios. For starters, let's talk about the advantages you do have in this situation, because it's not all bad. Firstly, it is much easier for your team to receive HP and mana than it is for the enemy. For your team, home is steps away at worst, and for the enemy, it is a journey. Utilize this. Don't get tilted when pushed back. Return often and utilize your advantage. Second, if this is mid or late game, respawn timers are much longer, making deaths very costly. If your team manages to take out key enemies, not only does it allow for tower pushes, but also great opportunities to farm and catch up on gold. There is also an argument that you have an advantage in fighting under your towers. Utilize this and keep towers as long as possible. They damage enemies and act as a safe zone for you to retreat to. With the advantages out of the way, let's talk strategy. If you're behind in gold, team fights should be avoided. In most cases, you won't be able to control your team, so there will be situations where they're rushing into unnecessary fights that you may even feel pressured to help with. But generally, avoid unnecessary fights like the plague. They're simply self-sabotage. We'll get back to this. Focus on farming, preferably minions over monster camps. Now, why is that? Firstly, the gold value of minions are higher after mid-game. And beyond that, your jungle is likely not safe if your team is pushed back. Trying to solo secure spawns will get you picked off. If you don't know where the enemy is, the jungle isn't safe. Prioritize the group spawns over the solo ones as well. Unless you know the enemy location or have a great mobility hero, do not go far to clear minion lanes. It's safer to farm them when they're closer to the towers. Doing otherwise will just lead to you being killed easily. Earlier, we discouraged team fighting if you're behind in gold, but eventually you will need to fight. But when? There are two times to fight. 1. Your gold is comparable to the enemy's. Or 2. The enemy makes a mistake. The first is pretty obvious, so let's talk about the second scenario. Enemy mistakes are inevitable, especially from their carry. These players often get overly confident, leading to death. Do not miss those opportunities. Here are two examples. In this game, their carry was Prince of Lang Lang. He was giving me trouble and got the edge in gold. Eventually though, like many others who play the character, he got too confident. My team shut him down. And from there, I started to snowball and secure the win with my team while he racked up more deaths. Their carry failed to understand that when shut down, you give the enemy a chance to catch up. Your power diminishes each time you respawn. Next up is another jungle carry. This player was doing great as well. Better than me even at the start. Once they got too confident and shut down though, it was over for them. This one was especially bad though because I killed them 2 times in a row. That made it GG. But back to team fights. If you have a numbers advantage, especially better than 4 on 5, this is when you fight. You do not want a fair 5v5. Either their health is lower than your team's at the start of the fight, or your team has a very solid numbers advantage. That is when you fight. This is really important for the game in general, but in a situation where you are behind, it cannot be stated enough. You do not want a fair fight. Create an advantage and do not waste it. Here is a recent comeback that we found perfect to illustrate our point. My team was down about 5,000 in gold and we were pushed back to our base. To be honest, most games are over in a situation like this. But not this one. I kept my gold comparable with the enemy and saw an opportunity and created this team fight you see here.
Shut down! An ally has been slain. Aced!
Now, I did die, but it was well worth it to get a quadra kill and a team ace. This gave my team momentum, hope, and more importantly, gold to make a win possible. There was still work to be done, but getting a triple kill shortly after that big moment sure did help. The point of showing you this is to make it clear that if your gold is comparable and the enemy makes a mistake, you can win.
Been destroyed.
Let's simplify. Focus on farming safely, use your advantages, avoid jungle areas unless you verify they're safe, do not fight fair team fights.
An ally has been slain.
If you want an in-depth video on making comebacks where we share strategies that can really win games, comment Teach Me below. Until next time, happy farming!